This is a presentation related to reducing homelessness with Housing Authority resources that is being presented in the community. To provide some context for this meeting, on January 24th, at a County Board of Supervisors meeting, the Sacramento Housing Authority was asked to explore and solicit feedback on options to reduce homelessness utilizing Housing Authority resources. The goal of this presentation is to share with you information about the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, who we are and what we do, provide an overview of our Housing Authority programs, and provide options available to serve homeless families in the community, which will help advise the agency as we develop recommendations to align our resources. The Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency is a joint powers authority. We work in both the city and county of Sacramento and answer to our respective boards depending on the project. Staff administer federal, state, and local funds to serve the needs of low and extremely low-income families in Sacramento. Our mission is to revitalize communities, provide affordable housing opportunities, and to serve as the housing authority for the city and county of Sacramento. Staff work both in the city and county, sometimes on joint projects that encompass both jurisdictions, which really speaks to the regional nature of our organization. The Housing Authority is and has always been the core entity of our agency to provide for the housing needs of Sacramento residents and have provided these services for the last 77 years. In the past, redevelopment was a portion of what we did, and yes, it was the more visible part of our work. However, we still continue to finance affordable housing using local and federal funds. Sacramento is the 5th largest housing authority in California and among the top 20 in size out of 3,400 housing authorities nationwide. We are one of the largest rental housing landlords in Sacramento County, and the Housing Authority owns and manages approximately 2,700 units. With both programs, we house 50,000 residents on any given day. This is the core of what we do. The Housing Authority provides housing to extremely low-income families in Sacramento. At this time, I would like to share with you key information regarding the Housing Authority programs, the Housing Choice Voucher, and public housing programs. Please keep in mind that HUD considers a one-member household a family, so family refers to households comprising of one or more members. Starting with the Housing Choice Voucher Program, or HCV, this program was formerly called Section 8, where the family has the choice to find a unit anywhere in Sacramento County on the private market. The family pays 30% of their income towards rent, and the remainder is paid to the landlord with funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The HCV program serves approximately 12,000 families at this time, where the average household size is 3 members, and many of the households have a disabled family member. The average annual income for families on the program is $14,800. We are serving the hardest to house families, and but for this type of housing would be homeless. Currently, the HCV program is fully leased up, and the only way we can serve new families is through vouchers available when families leave the program, what we call turnover vouchers. What causes the turnover of vouchers? Families leave the program for a variety of reasons. Some families become self-sufficient and don't need the subsidy anymore. Some pass away, and others are terminated from the program for not meeting the requirements of the HCV program. Currently, we have a turnover of approximately 600 vouchers on an annual basis. It is these turnover vouchers that we are looking at how best to serve homeless families with. Whatever option we choose to serve homeless families utilizing the vouchers, it is mainly a market-driven strategy. The Housing Authority provides a voucher to the family, but they are responsible to find a unit in this very tight rental market where the voucher has to be accepted. In addition, This is a voluntary program for the landlords. Unlike the HCV program, where families take a voucher and find a unit in the private market, public housing is where the housing authority owns and manages the development, and families move into these affordable units. Currently, the housing authority serves over 2,700 families, and the average family size is 3 members, and many of the households have children. The average income on the program is $12,800 on an annual basis. Our public housing units are also leased up and have a turnover of approximately 200 units per year. So between both the programs, we have an approximate turnover of 800 vouchers and units on an annual basis. So how does a family apply and receive housing? All families receiving housing authority assistance, whether through a voucher or public housing, are selected off a waiting list. There are a total of 11 waiting lists that families can sign up on, 5 for the HCV program and 6 for public housing. Currently, there are 70,000 unduplicated families waiting on these lists. Clearly, there is a great need for affordable housing here in Sacramento. Some waiting lists are open and some are closed. We have preferences that help families on the waiting list receive housing. What that means is that in order to reach the most vulnerable families, we prioritize applicants on our waiting lists in order to reach these families, such as those that are disabled and veterans. For more information related to our waiting list, please refer to the frequently asked questions on our website. For the HCV program, currently there is one general waiting list where the family finds a unit anywhere in Sacramento County. This list is currently closed. There are 4 open waiting lists that serve families who live in site-specific developments known as project-based developments. An example of a project-based development is 7th and H supportive housing. At the site-specific developments, the subsidy is tied to the unit, and the family stays in these complexes if they want to receive HCV assistance. We have approximately 670 families living in these developments. Public housing is very similar to the HCV program. While the voucher program allows families to take a voucher and find a unit on the private market or at a site-specific development, in public housing, when approved, they move into units where the housing authority owns and manages the developments. Families move into right-sized units based on their family size. In public housing, families can sign up for 6 different waiting lists. In case you are wondering how families sign up, they need to go to www.sacwaitlist.com. At this time, I would like to go over 4 proposed preference strategies that are available to Align Housing Authority resources. To recap, the Housing Choice Voucher and public housing programs are fully leased up, and we cumulatively have approximately 800 turnover vouchers and units in the Sacramento community. Sacramento has a significant number of homeless individuals and families. According to Sacramento's 2015 point-in-time count report, over 2,600 families are experiencing homelessness. Since 2005, the Housing Authority has invested over $178 million for homeless rental housing. Currently, we contribute approximately $16 million annually to serve homeless programs. Currently, HUD gives the Housing Authority options to serve homeless families within their regulations. I want to share with you these options in order to receive feedback. The 4 options are utilizing a general homeless preference, limited homeless allocation, site-specific or project-based allocation, and a move-on allocation. At this time, I would like to talk about the general preference option. This applies to both Housing Choice Voucher and public housing. Looking at the column on the left, it shows our current waiting list, where the green color represents families who are currently waiting on our lists. This includes elderly families, disabled families, families with children, and others. Amidst these families are also homeless individuals and families, as shown in the color blue. Moving to the right column, with providing a preference to homeless families, the waiting list is reordered to prioritize families who are on the waiting list who are also homeless. HUD requires us to serve families who meet the new preference on our waiting list first. This is now shown with the blue families at the top, who are the homeless who are on our waiting list and are given first priority. New families who meet the homeless preference would be next in line, as seen in the color orange, and refers to new homeless families who are served coming off the streets. They are placed ahead of those who aren't homeless and are on our waiting list, shown in green. Therefore, non-homeless families on the wait list would be placed below homeless families on the wait list. Key considerations to keep in mind is that the Housing Authority has funds for rental subsidies only. With this general preference, homeless families are not tied to services which they may need. They would be given priority to move up the list. However, aside from that, they are treated like other families receiving a voucher. With this option, homeless families can self-certify being homeless. Another option available to the Housing Authority is the use of a limited preference, which is also applicable to both the Housing Choice Voucher and public housing. With this approach, the Housing Authority establishes a set number of turnover vouchers and units to be utilized for the homeless. The column on the left is the same as the previous slide, where the green represents families on our current waiting list. This includes families who are elderly, disabled families, and families with children, among others. Amidst these families on the waiting list are also homeless families, shown in blue. With a limited preference, looking at the right column, a defined number of homeless families are served. First priority is given to homeless families on the waiting list, shown in blue, followed by homeless families off the streets, shown in orange. However, the Housing Authority can continue to serve families on the current waiting list who are waiting for housing, shown in green. With this approach, families are referred to the Housing Authority by a partnering homeless service agency. Families are also linked to services and essential supports up front before receiving the voucher, which could include housing location and case management, in addition to assistance with security deposits and damage claims. These services are essential to support families to find and stabilize in housing. As the Housing Authority can only provide rental subsidies, partnering agencies are exploring options to fund such services. Based on county staff estimates, it will cost $7,800 per family to provide such services, which equates to approximately $1.5 million to serve 200 homeless families. Another option is to allocate vouchers to build and rehabilitate units at site-based developments, or what we call project-based units. This option is only for the HCV program. As mentioned earlier, we currently have a portion of our 12,000 vouchers being utilized as project-based vouchers. What this means is that families move into the subsidized units and don't go into the private rental market to find a unit. In a sense, it is similar to public housing, as families move into an available unit based on their family size. However, with the site-based, project-based units, they are privately owned and managed. Here in Sacramento, we provide families access to services at these developments, such as at the 7th and H complex. These vouchers are available in 8 housing developments around the city and county of Sacramento. For more information related to the project-based vouchers, please refer to the frequently asked questions sheet on our website. By allocating a portion of the turnover vouchers to project basing, developers are able to build new units or rehabilitate existing units to house homeless families. As you know, with the number of families on the streets and the 70,000 unduplicated families on our waiting list, we don't have enough affordable housing units available for our families. In addition, the rental market is very tight and families are taking a long time to find a suitable unit. With this option, developers can utilize some of our turnover vouchers to build and or rehabilitate units to house homeless families. Keep in mind, this is not an overnight solution, but an option available to us. Another option is the move-on allocation, again related to the HCV program. With this option, families who are currently in permanent supportive housing, which means that they receive housing and intensive services, can transition into the HCV program if they don't need the wraparound services anymore. The Housing Authority would work very closely with existing service providers and property management companies to identify these families. This in turn will free up permanent supportive housing available to families needing intensive services. At this time, we are seeking input from you on these options, which are not mutually exclusive. Please go to our website, www.shra.org, under the Transparency link to find a list of workshops that are being held throughout the community. You are also free to write to us at SHRA, Attention Agency Clerk, at 801 12th Street, Sacramento, California, 95814.